man. Right on. Well, cool. Cool. Well, you know, I didn't have a lot of time to plan for this talk or anything like that, but, you know, I got the promo in the inbox, and there were some opportunities to talk, and I listened to the album a couple times through, and man, I was just like, I gotta I gotta talk about this one a little bit. So that's why I wanted to reach out. But I know I talked to you last, I don't know if you remember, it was a while ago now, man. It was when you guys came to Detroit back in sometime after Blood Offerings, between then and Mortal.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it was like right after you guys played a show. So yeah, that was a while ago, man. That was quite a while.
2018, maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, so I definitely wanted to catch back up since it's been so long, and I figured I'd start with just like it's been like 4 years since Mortal. What was there a lot of reasons for why it took so long to get to this album? I mean, I know we had the pandemic and some of that obvious stuff. Was that a big part of it, or what were you guys kind of up to at that time?
Yeah, we had a lot of setbacks even after the pandemic. We had the obvious time of the pandemic where we weren't able to play, but then when things were starting to open back up, I had some serious family issues. I had to fly back to Italy to help my family with my father getting sick, and after that, like before that, Chad, our drummer, he had to go through like a back surgery, multiple back surgeries, and a period of recovery. And then when we were finally ready to get back to a few days, when we planned the recording of Lifeless Birth of this album, like 2 days before I was flying out to the Bay to go record, I got Bell palsy, which is like a facial paralysis kind of syndrome, and it lasted over a month. Wow. So I had to we had to cancel the recording, and then we had to reschedule it in the nearest possible available dates that Greg Wilkinson and the Here Hammer was available. So that pushed everything back another 6 months. So we just had like a lot of shit happening right during the pandemic and right after. So everything got pushed back more than we wanted.
Yeah, that's wild. How Bell's palsy, I mean, I'm familiar with it. I'm a therapist, and I see a lot of, different stuff like that. I'm familiar, with stroke, and when you have that kind of stuff. I'm not super familiar with Bell's palsy, but how did you get rid of it? Did it just go away on its own, or did you have to work on it?
It just goes away on its own. Like, you can do some kind of exercise, you can take some vitamins, but like, even you go to the doctor and they don't even know why it happens.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like they don't know why it happens. There is not much research that came to any conclusions, really. It's all like hypothesis. And then it's like, for some people, it only lasts a certain amount of time. For other people, it's permanent, or it'll take a long time to recover. So that's kind of like, you are in this gray zone where you don't know how long it's going to take. And it took me like about 10, 11 days to see anything getting better. So it's like for the first 10 days, you're just wondering when you don't see any, you don't see that you're improving at all. So you start wondering, oh shit, yeah, of course, totally. But you just try to keep calm and wait.
Right. Oh,
and then it slowly started to get better, and then it took another 3 weeks to get, considerably better.
Did it affect like eating or swallowing at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, because half of your mouth is also paralyzed. So it's like, sometimes when you drink, like your water will come out of your mouth and shit like that. Yeah. No, totally. It's like, I feel a lot for people that don't recover completely from it,
For sure, man. For sure. That's wild. Well, I'm glad you came out of that, man, with, on the other side of it.
That's awesome. Everything's good now, for sure.
Right on.
But yeah, we had a lot of setbacks, and like, Chad had to go. He got back surgery, and then he had these horrible headaches after the surgery. Like, he couldn't move without getting these horrible headaches. So then they found out that like some of the spinal fluid was leaking into his brain or something. Man. So then they had to give him surgery again. He had to get a second surgery, and then the recovery was really long, and he had to do like very strict therapy and rehabilitation to be able to get back to his normal life. And I think he still does a lot of exercising, but like now he's able to drum and tour like he used to.
Yeah.
And then our guitar player also, like, he had like this very bad carpal tunnel at both of his hands and the problem with one of his fingers. So he ended up recently, like a few months ago, having to get surgery as well to fix it, and now it's doing great. So like, you know, we all got fixed up, and now we're all good.
Was it like a demonized kind of thing from Immortal? Like, was it from playing, or was it, or whatever? Who knows? The carpal tunnel. I mean, it can happen from anything.
Well,
obviously,
I think
you know,
it's from many years of playing, and probably he's a sound engineer too, so he's lifting and using his hands a lot.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Well, shit. Did you guys, I mean, did a lot of that come through into the album? I mean, I don't, you know, I imagine it has to seep in there a little.
Like, you know, the frustration of not being able to do what you love, and like, so you have a lot of drive of getting back to it and regaining your life back, kind of like, you know, and a lot of frustration from everything that happened during the pandemic and after. Like, you know, you get all these feelings, and then you're writing an album, and of course, you know, some of it is gonna, you know, come out through your music and lyrics.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, too, I mean, that's awesome that you guys were able to kind of all bounce back from that. Cause I mean, you guys obviously tour a ton, you know, I mean, at least pre-pandemic.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. We were used to tour all the time, and now we're getting back at it. We just finished a tour with Municipal Waste and Ghoul. That started and ended on the East Coast. So for us, coming from the West Coast, we played some extra show on the way and back, and so we basically did the coast to coast 4 times in like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And in June, we're doing a proper headlining tour for support of Lifeless Birth. He starts on the 5th of June in Berkeley, and he ends on July 12th in Portland, going all around. We're gonna play Canada and lots of cities in the US. That's like 36 shows, I think.
Yeah, I saw that.
10 days later, we're starting a European tour that hasn't been announced yet. It's going to be like a full month from the end of July to the end of August.
Wow. That's a lot, man. That's a lot of touring.
Yeah, it's good though. It's fun, man. And we got all these new songs. We need people to hear them. You know, we want people to hear new stuff. And I know people are going to get excited once they get their hands on the new record. So
yeah.
You know, they're going to want to come to the show. So we got to make sure there is the show.
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, for sure. I mean, that new album is wild. I loved it. I mean, I'm a fan anyway, so it's not hard to.
Cool. Thank you.
You know, no surprise that I'm into this one, but yeah, man. I just keep getting impressed every time about how, I was trying to think about what I loved about this album so much, and you guys in general. And a big thing that I kept coming back to was just how you guys, the emphasis on catchiness, you know, hooks, things that really pull you in more than some things. I mean, I think with some modern death metal, sometimes that gets lost, you know, in the last 10 years or so. Sometimes it's like an emphasis on brutality or heaviness, and sometimes not so much the song, you know?
I've been listening to metal and death metal and thrash and for a long time, for, I don't know, more than 20 years, definitely more than 20 years, and playing in metal bands almost all my life since I was a teenager. And like, to me, it's like what drew me towards metal was always like, you know, early Sepultura, Immolation, bands like Morbid Angel or Grave, and all these classic bands that, like, you know, they do have memorable riffs. They do have memorable songs, like, you know. And it's like, I feel that like a more complicated death metal, and there's got like songs with like a million riffs and shit like that, and ultra technical. I feel that like that stuff came later. You know, it was like kind of like an evolution of what the base of extreme metal was. And to me, I always been more attached to that sound that is a little less hard to grasp onto. You know, to me, it's like, I don't want to make music that only a few people can understand, and I don't want my music to just be a show off of technique of what you technically can do. You know, it's like that feels more like sport to me than music. And you know, so some people they put a lot of emphasis on having a gigantic sound or huge breakdowns or very intricate parts. And to me, I still like that side of music, that side of metal that is a little more romantic, you know, that is still got a lot of soul and a lot of artistic component to it, that is not as much technical, but more of like the feeling of it.
100%. Yeah, I just big time. And I mean, I think back to like all the early stuff that I love. I mean, like things like Scream Bloody Gore, I mean, as basic back as you can go, or something like Pull the Plug. Sure. Some of those songs, man, you know, you can sing along to it a little bit, or
I do like that part of music where you can remember stuff, or I have always enjoyed that, and like you know, those is like, you know, my lyrics are pretty direct, like, you know, I like that I don't use very complicated words, probably because I don't even know them. But like, you know, it's like I just like to have something that is for the way I like it, you know. The way I like it, I like stuff that is simpler rather than more complicated.
Right.
And it's like, you know, it's funny because lots of times it's like when we get a review of our albums, many times a reviewer, they'll say like, oh, they're not you know, we'll get really good reviews, but they'll often mention like, you know, oh, we didn't reinvent the wheel, or how we're not experimenting. And I'm like, we're not an experimental band, you know. Right. We're much more of a straightforward kind of band. So it's like, I don't know why you got your expectation of us trying to be some avant-garde shit. You know.
Man. That's the way it goes. I mean, I like all that stuff too, but I just, I don't know, man. And it just, I really appreciate the way that a lot of the phrasings that you use, and just the catchiness of some of the delivery of the vocals. Like I said, it reminds me of something like on Scream Bloody Gore, where like you can just sing along to those parts, man. It gets stuck in your head, and I appreciate that, you know?
Sweet. Awesome.
One of my favorite songs on this one, I'll say two, but what the hell? Drill the Skull. I mean, for that reason alone, but it's also got the heaviness. I mean, it sticks in your head. You can sing along to it. You know, how did that one come about? Was that a simple one to write, or did that one take a while?
Well, I just wanted to have a more like chuggy, slower song, because it's like, you know, I feel that like especially before playing in Necrot, I had other death metal bands. I played for many years in Acephalix and another band called Vastum, and I did write some songs like that in the past, and we did have more of a chuggy, slower feeling to it, and I wanted to throw some of that in the mix.
Yeah,
I kind of felt like that this can be integrated without being like, you know, too much of a change of our sound, because we do have you know, even on Mortal there is the final song Mortal that is definitely slower, and you know, you get that feeling of that palm muted stuff, and like I just wanted to have like a variation on the album also, to give it more of like, because I still feel that like, you know, people that listen to us, to Necrot, are people that are actually gonna listen to the whole album. Yeah, you know, we are not much of like, you know, our fan base is very loyal. It's like they're waiting for our new album, and they're gonna listen to the whole thing. We're not much of a band that like puts out a cool song and a shitty album, you know what I mean? And then everybody is adding that cool song to their playlist, and they forget about everything else you're doing. So it's like, I do still like to think about the album as something that people are going to listen to the beginning to the end. And I felt that having like a slower, chuggier song right in the middle of the album would give it that variation that like makes it so that the album is not that boring, you know?
For sure. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's placed like right where it needs to be, mixes it up. Yeah, man, that's awesome.
And also it's like, you know, a slower part would stand out and sound heavier, and then it'll make the faster stuff sound faster.
For sure, yeah. And those heavy, slow songs, man, those live are always just so fun too. But
totally. You know, I want to see people like, you know, when they hag each other like this and hag bang in the middle of the pit. Hell yeah, I want to see some of that.
For sure. Yeah, dude. And then the other one, like, I love that it's like the second to last track, but Dead Memories, like that one, talk about being catchy. I mean, it's so I could listen to that thing on repeat, and I love that it's at the back end of the album, man, for that reason, because it's like right when you should be getting sick of an album, that thing comes in and it just pulls you in again. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I love that song, and it's like a longer song. It's a little slower as well. It's got a really long guitar solo. I just like that, like towards the end of the album just gets more metal. It's got more leads. It's got slower parts. It's got very metal sounding riffs, and like I feel that like is a good way of ending the album with Dead Memories and The Curse, the very last song, because there are songs that you have to. I feel like some of the side A songs are pretty catchy and more easy listening, and when you get towards the end of the album, you need to be a little bit more involved and paying attention to get it. and to enjoy it. So I feel like if you got that far into the album, it means that you got the mindset to get these two songs now, that they're a little more like, you know, slower and with more guitar parts, more guitar solos and stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, the solos are amazing. There's some extra melodicism going on with some of them, and yeah, man, just
because I mean, it's like we both me and Sonny, we like a lot the melodic part of soloing, you know, which is not just a shredding. You know, some songs call for that. Some song wants just a shreddy part where you're going super fast, and it's like, you know, it's just fucking insane.
Yeah.
But then I also like when the guitars are actually like singing. You know, when there is a guitar part that is a solo that you can almost sing along with it. Like, you know, it gets stuck in your head, and like Sonny is really good at that. And he knows that I love that style of soloing, and I often request it from him, and I know that he's really good at it. But like, you know, he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeves. He is an amazing guitar player. He's been playing for all his life, and like he's able to play many very different styles of guitar solos. You know, while some guitar players, they can only do one. He can do like a lot.
That's cool. Well, I was really,
you know, you see it throughout the album. There is a lot of styles of guitar solos. Like, you know, I think that is like, if you like guitar solos and guitar parts, is an enjoyable record. You know.
Yeah, that's why I noticed it, man. I'm always telling people I wish there was more solos, and sometimes there's not a lot in death metal, you know what I mean? And I just fucking love solos. I think it's I used to like a lot of 80s metal and stuff, so I love a good,
totally,
you know what I mean? I love a good solo, and yeah, so I appreciated it. And a lot of variation too, like you said. Every song, you're not really sure what you're going to get on the solo, so that just was another thing that added to the variety.
100%, I agree.
Yeah. So you guys really kind of, at this point too, like 3 albums in, like, you guys kind of have like that signature sound, you know, like, you know, it's going to be Necrot. Was that, do you think that's rare right now, or do you think there's a lot of bands right now that, and is that a hard thing to do? You know, because I feel like, man, back in the early 90s, that would have been easy, but now it's like there's so many bands, it'd be hard to accomplish that.
It is. It's hard to stand out. It's hard to have your own sound. Because there is so many bands. There is so many bands, and so much has already been done. I think that like what makes our sound is the songwriting and our tones. Our guitar tones are somewhat slightly different than what most people are doing. I feel like that a lot of bands, they're going for that sound that is inspired by Entombed Left Hand Path kind of sound with the HM2 pedal. And there was like a ton of bands that were doing that, and there still are. And I feel like that we are going for a sound that is warmer and is just older. Like, you know, we use very old equipment. Like my bass is from 1978. Sonny's amps are from late 70s, early 80s. My bass head also is from the 80s. Like, we use a lot of old stuff. We try and get like you know, our idea was always kind of like to get like sort of like a Motorhead sound to death metal. And then of course we're like, you know, we're down tuned, so we're never gonna sound like Motorhead, you know, because we're tuned in B standard. But it's like, you know, that's always been kind of like our approach. And then also like, I feel like the way that our songwriting plays with like weird tempos or not as obvious time signatures without getting into the tech death kind of word. You know, we're not a technical band, but if you go listen to our songs, there is a lot of like weird tempos without giving it that feelings that they're there. You know what I mean? It's like without going too far into like crazy fucking insane mathematics tempos.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a little bit what distinguishes us sound wise from the other bands. And then in my opinion, lyrically also, is like we tend to be a little more on the philosophical, a little bit more on towards the like that side of death metal, that side of extreme metal that talks about reality and is a little more introspective and talks a little bit more about like real feelings and real situations of life. While I feel that a lot of bands out there, they talk about war, or they'll talk about zombies, or they'll talk about just violence in general. So I feel that like all these factors kind of like puts us a little bit aside from lots of the extreme metal bands that there are out there right now.
Yeah.
But also, like, I feel that, like, the fact that, like, we started in 2011, and we have always had these thematics. We've always had these weird tempo signatures. We've always had these melodic parts. We've always had these groovier parts, or this straightforward late 80s, early 90s death metal stuff. And, like, I feel that, like, we have been us for a long time now, not 30 years, but, like, 13 years. And I feel like that a lot of this newer wave of death metal bands started, lots of them later than us. Mm-hmm. And, like, they also had more of changes in their style through time, while I feel like we're going straight on what we have always been doing. We're just getting better at it,
Yeah.
That would be my analysis, but I could be wrong. You know what I mean? I just feel that, like, it's true. It's like, you can hear one of our song and be like, oh yeah, this is Necrot. I know this band, in the middle of a lot of bands. But, like, there is great bands. There is a lot of fucking amazing bands out there right now. And in the last 10, 15 years, they've been playing extreme music. Like, I mean, Ritual Necromancy, or fucking Witch Vomit, this band Thapos from Europe. They're really sick. Like, there is a lot of really good death metal, extreme metal out there, and bands that have been around for a while, Then eventually, like, not all the bands get a lot of attention, eventually because they can't tour that much, or eventually because I don't fucking know why. It's kind of hard to tell. It's like, I feel that, like, the metal that eventually gets the more attention is the one that get mixed with more accessible kind of music these days, like hardcore, or like stuff that is a little bit more trendy and just more popular, Yeah. So it's like the reason why someone gets more attention and someone gets less attention, to me, keeps being like kind of like a mystery.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. There's so many. I think there's so many variables to that. Yeah. Yeah. How much is the label pushing it? Is it or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? But it's like to me, it's like the level of success of something, or the level of or even money. Like, in this world, not always is like it reflects the real value of things, because you see it, like, there is the things that are the most popular are insanely poor in content right now, especially in very many kinds of music, or even movies, or things that just get popular. So it's like, to me, it's like, it's always like is never like the right way to judge something, the level of success that it's receiving, because there is amazing bands that nobody gives a shit about.
Yeah, and it's not always like the popular ones aren't always the ones that are going to last. Maybe that's what's cool for a minute, but some of those ones that don't get to the highest level are the ones that really just stick around and slowly make that climb.
Yeah, yeah, true. Or they'll just be there and still put out really good music. That's what's matter. You gotta put out good music, because that's what really, like, is gonna stay forever. Is like your records.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, man, I just I think there's a good solid list of bands from the past 10 plus years that are able to really find that certain sound to make them stand out. I just really love that. I like listening to everything, and there's certain bands I listen to for a little while and it might fall off, but the ones that kind of have their that identity and their sound, like you said, it doesn't have to be reinventing the wheel. It's just like something that makes it their own.
Yeah,
those are the ones I come back to, the most, for me at least.
Totally. Yeah, and it's like, reinventing the wheel is like is a concept that is like. Then if you really try and do something weird and super out of what has already been done, that's probably when people are not gonna like it. There's also, because sometimes they'll tell you like, oh, you're not doing anything that new, and you're like, yeah, but if I do, then you're gonna talk shit anyway. So
I know. I have a theory too that a lot of that stuff is like people that are reviewing albums, they're just they're reviewing so many albums all the time. They're probably listening to so much stuff.
They're looking for something very
like,
different.
Give me something different.
Get me out of this boredom. Yeah. But it's like, we actually get really good reviews. I just thought it was funny that often we get called out for not being so avant-garde or some shit. Right. Like, I don't know. That was never my intention. Fuck.
No. Do you?
I really love the old stuff, man.
Yeah. When this comes out, will you look at much reviews or just kind of like, do you ever check them out a little bit or?
I do. I do. I do. I would lie if I say that I don't. I do. I have like, we also, because like, we'll send them to each other, or even Scotty from Tank Friends will be like, hey, there's this review that come up, look it up. So then you look it up.
Yeah.
And it's entertaining, man, because it's like, you put so much work into something and then you get some feedback and even just for the entertainment part of it, you want to read about it. Someone else's take on your work is interesting because, you have your own take on what you did, and then someone else comes from outside and listen to it, which is not your wife or your friends that they're gonna just tell you like, yeah, it's great, man.
Yeah, for sure.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, I get it. All right, man. Let's finish on this. I don't usually do this, but I was like, I'm gonna try this on you. Can I throw some like album versus albums, or like some just kind of questions at you, like for example, early death or later death, like if you had to pick, you know what I mean, some questions like that. What do you think?
Oof, what's I really enjoy middle death.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I do too.
Yes, the late stuff is a little too I mean, I love it too, but like it's getting very prog, and it's cool. It's still amazing. I like all of it.
Yeah.
But like, and the early stuff is very raw, and I love it. But there is also other bands doing that raw shit, like Autopsy and blah blah blah. While I feel that like at one point for me, when they with the Human or Individual True Pattern, it's like they hit such a special spot, in my opinion, of like something that is like very, very, very interesting and well crafted, and it's like, of course, the importance of Scream Bloody Gore or the stuff that he was doing before with Chris Reifert is like, it was groundbreaking as well, because there was nobody doing that shit before, besides, Possessed or something. But it's like, looking at it from the perspective of someone that is like, decades later, I really enjoy the middle part of like that career.
I'm with you on that. All right. How about Tucker era Morbid Angel or David Vincent?
Well, that's another one. It's like, of course, like, Altars of Madness is like, such a classic, and it's like, I've heard that record a million times. But then it's like, I have to say that like Steve Tucker's got more of like, I prefer it as a person, probably. Not that I never met Dave Vincent personally, but like we were on tour with Morbid Angel, and Steve Tucker is such a sick dude. He's such a good guy, and he's such a badass frontman. And it's like, the albums with him at The Voice, they're so good. It's like, I discovered Morbid Angel through Altars of Madness. So it's like, you have that like, nostalgia, like feeling to that album. But then it's like Formula and all those other albums with Steve Tucker, they're also really sick. I even like their latest one, the Kingdom This Day. It's sick. And it's like, so it's like, to me, it's like, I really value both of them for different reasons, Yeah. It's a tough one to just pick one or the other one. Yeah.
I know. Okay. How about this one? Severed Survival or Mental Funeral?
Fuck, I don't know, man. Both. Like, come on, give me easier questions. Give me like a really easy one.
I don't know. How about all right? How about okay? Well, this one here, I don't know if it's easier, but how about out of the three, we've got Entombed, we got Dismember, we got Grave. Do you have a preference on that?
I prefer Grave.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Any reason, or just
Grave? Well, because Entombed, I really love Nihilist. And I really love Left and Path. It's a great album, but like then there is more Grave albums that I like than Entombed. I really like the You'll Never Seen. I like Into the Grave, and like I mean, and I've seen both live because I seen Entombed in 2005 2004 or something, and I got to see Grave years later. Like they were great live, both.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have to shoot it out like that, and I like Dismember, I really like Dismember, but yeah, my graduatory would be Graves into Dismember.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. All right. How about Immolation, Incantation?
Immolation.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You got it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I have to, because I love those guys, and Dawn of Possession is one of my favorite albums ever. And
oh yeah.
And they still put out really sick albums. Not that Incantation doesn't. I just feel way more attached to the Immolation vibe, the sound that they get out of their music, and like the really obscure feeling that you get when you listen to Immolation is, to me, is like unbeatable. Like even live is like, there is this like layer of darkness that comes into the room when Immolation is playing. It's so
I agree. All right. I know we got to get off. So how about this one? Tomb of the Mutilated or The Bleeding? Can you pick one of those, or maybe neither, or maybe a different one?
The Bleeding. It's so catchy. I love it. It's so good. Those riffs. I mean, the Tomb of the Mutilated is so sick too, but like The Bleeding was probably like the album that got me to listen to Cannibal Corpse in the first place.
Yeah, you can't beat the catchiness on that one.
Yeah, no, dude. I like catchy stuff.
That's why I was
wondering. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate the time, and can't wait to see you at that Detroit show, man. I will definitely be there. So
yeah, man. June, July, we're gonna be touring the whole U.S. and most of the U.S. and a lot of Canada too. So hopefully we'll see a lot of people there, and come say hi, please, at the Detroit show.
Yeah, man. Will do. All right. Have a good rest of your day, man.
Thank you very much. You too.